Hi guys, Brand here, and welcome to a different kind of video today. Don't worry, front-facing brand will be going away, probably like the next video. It's just a temporary thing I'm messing with, okay? I always like messing with things and I tried to mess with the green screen last week, that didn't work. But we're just always, going through stuff, watching new things, doing new things, trying to hone our craft, that sort of thing. So don't worry if it freaks you out and you're like, I don't like change. So it'll be back soon, don't worry. But today's video is probably going to be a little bit more on the ranty side, one of those super unscripted ones where I just kind of like, not that many of my videos are scripted. At most I'll have like a bullet point or two. Like I mostly just talk, which I'm sure you've realized I do based on the uhs and repetition of the same point for emphasis, but really it's just me kind of like, going along like I am now, just kind of going along. But this is gonna be a little bit more of a ranty one because I've been kind of like meditating a little bit on the idea of DBD commentary videos, which is obviously my bread and butter, what I like to do the most. Even the quote-unquote the react videos are basically just like me making my commentary videos, except live. A lot of my commentary videos are in direct response to takes that certain other creators have had or feelings that they have about the game. And I know you guys that have been at the channel for a while know that I used to do that. I used to be like, well, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that, and try to reply to it bit by bit. It's probably just easier to watch said video live and, react to it on the fly, right? Instead of having to recount everything and spend half the video recounting everything. So, but I've been meditating a lot about like what DBD commentary videos are even for, and not even just like with what I mainly do, but with what other people do. And I feel like the reason that DBD commentary videos appealed to me, at least first initially, was because it seemed like it was a great and healthy place to have a good discussion and a form of dialogue about the game. Obviously, a lot of people feel very passionately about this game and want it to be the best that it possibly can be. DBD, for many reasons, is a deeply flawed game, and we all have different takes about why the game is deeply flawed and how we can go about fixing it. And not one person has all the right ideas about how to actually go about fixing these in the correct ways, or else it would have just happened by now. So the idea was that, like, if we spend or give this space specifically dedicated to having a sort of a think tank about what about this perk is problematic, what about this map is problematic, how would we change this character to be less problematic, stuff like that, we would eventually come to kind of something close to a consensus of just ideas of what we could do, and maybe somewhere in the middle there we would find something that was good for everyone. And I've found that over the long time that I've done this, that this isn't necessarily the case, and this isn't necessarily the result that happens, and sometimes, and honestly a lot of the time, it ends up going kind of the opposite direction. I think not only with my videos, but with the commentary videos that have existed, because they've been around forever, way longer before I ever came into the scene, and they will exist way after I'm done playing Dead by Daylight. Is that I feel like a lot of it kind of just boils down to whatever creator is at the center of that, obviously whoever the commentator is. It's just kind of them spitting out their ideas, and obviously the bigger said content creator is, the more of it is kind of just them kind of giving almost like, not a rule book, but kind of like, okay, well, this is my opinion, and other people follow that. Usually, if a very, very big creator like Scott Junn says something, I see it followed, and I know that the disingenuous term for it is parroting. I see it parroted, yeah, that parroted for quite some time after that, and a lot of people just kind of chirping and regurgitating what he says. Otts isn't really too much of a commentary creator himself, but whenever he does do a commentary video about a specific thing in the game, it's just kind of like a guideline that everybody follows for a certain period of time. But really, there's not like a big dialogue, a huge back and forth there. Like, they don't, like, I've noticed that is a piece that's missing from a lot of like commentary YouTubers in the DBD space. Is like, there's not really a dialogue happening between streamer ideas and the commenters' ideas, the viewers' ideas. It's kind of just like, okay, well, this just happened, here's my take. Like, that's end of story, right? Like, it's not a conversation, there is no goal, it's just kind of, this thing happened and I'm telling you guys how I feel about it. Which, to put this out here, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not what I do them for. I do them for that healthy forum, for that discussion, for that to provide a place for discussion is the reason that I set out to do that. And that's just not what a lot of DBD commentary creators do. especially the bigger ones. It's just not something that that's not like what it's for. So I thought that there was maybe like a niche there. There was a niche I could fill where I tried to be a little bit like as thoughtful as I could be about the things happening in the game, try to take it as objectively as I could based on both sides' feelings. It's usually a lot of takes in DBD boil down to, well, I'm a killer, so I want this, or I'm a survivor, so I want this. To kind of play both, experience with both, experiment with both, and somewhere in the middle try to find like some sort of comparable middle ground, and with your help I could get there. Now what happens after that, I don't know, because it's very clear that if somebody like ATTRIBUTION is putting as much effort into the game as possible to try and make content to get behavior's attention to change things for the better, and even they ignore him, why do commentary channels matter? Because certainly they're not going to be listened to either. So that's a doozy. That's a doozy in its own right. But also as well, I have found that even in this journey, even if we say in a perfect world, behavior did watch these videos and did see these things and went, there's some good ideas there, maybe we can use those. I don't even think that we succeed at creating that form of healthy discussion. And if anything, sometimes we create almost like this opposite zone where we're almost inviting negative and unhealthy discussion. So if the point of everything that I'm doing here is to create a healthy discussion among people of various different MMRs, zones of play, time zones of play, different characters, different survivor mains, different killer mains. Like, I'm trying to conglomerate a bunch of people into one space so we can all kind of like spit our ideas out, and somewhere in the middle we make something that makes sense. I feel like what happens realistically a lot of these times is when I would say a lot of the time is when I congregate all those people. A lot of these people usually just gotta end up fighting. I'm sure you've seen it in the YouTube comments, just like, oh, this comment has 8 replies. A lot of it will be directed directly at me, of like, I don't know why you say that, that's so dumb, blah, blah, blah. I usually let those go, like the you're stupids or you don't like this, but there's a lot of comments that you don't see hit the channel because they go a little too hard. We'll put that lightly, using insults. I've had slurs thrown at me. That's fun. Obviously, those get reported. I hide that person from the channel, but I get a lot of that too. I'm usually pretty on top of that. I get to it right away, but people are pretty vindictive and awful when they want to be. And if you've noticed, people in general, even if they're not being super mean and vindictive, are usually very condescending and talk down to others when they're trying to make their points in the comments. And I think that's just the unfortunate nature of not even just Dead by Daylight, but people in general. It's bringing a lot of people together with a lot of different thoughts and feelings and biases. Usually it's hard for them to get along and talk to each other in a way that is respectful. I'm sure you've seen this out in the real world with real life politics. So I thought, it was, for years I've been creating this like forum where people can talk and be healthy with each other and talk about the things that, hopefully get somewhere and have a general consensus that's healthy for the game. Not even just for like changes or balance, but just like outlooks, community stuff, like making sure that like, hey, some people are a little too rude or a little too dismissive, bad behavior in general, no pun intended, that we want to dissuade others from doing. Wanted to create that platform so people can discuss that, and we could make not only the game, but the community that we all spend time in a better place. But it seems like I bring, like, not even just I, but DBD commentary communities in general, it seems like it brings a lot of different people of different idea sets together just so they can do battle in the comments, just so they can fight and argue, whether that be directly with the commentator or with each other. But I don't know if there's a way to circumvent that. I don't know if there's a way around that. This is why this is kind of a ranty video, because it's just kind of like what I've been thinking about lately. I don't know, I've been feeling passionate about making DBD commentary content again. I'm sure you've seen that, things have been a little bit less even. I try to keep them fairly even, where it's like, 2 or 3 reacts, 2 or 3 commentaries, and then like, 2 like match reviews. I try to keep it fairly even, but there's been a lot more commentary lately, just because it's just something, obviously it's something I feel nostalgic and comfortable with, because it's what brought me to the dance. But also with making a lot more of that again, I've just, for some reason, just kind of like very like cleanly and objectively seen the discourse and just the arguing nonstop that happens, and kind of how that's just not my goal with why I make commentary content. I want to bring people together, even if it's you know, there's going to be a little bit of friction. There's always going to be a little bit of friction in bringing people of vastly different ideas together so they can talk to each other. But there's a little too much friction, a lot of disrespect, a lot of rudeness, a lot of bullying instead. And it just made me kind of like question, am I like unintentionally like making a forum for people to just fight with each other? And I feel like if there's something that I want out of this with you and your input, instead of just like me rambling too much, which is what I will always do anyway, but your input is something that I want, would like your take on, is that like, is this your experience when you go out into the other DBD commentary communities? Is you see that it was just kind of like this unhealthy zone of people just continuing to argue with each other? Because honestly, if we just wanted to argue with each other and we just wanted to complain and whine and bicker in an unhealthy way that's not good for us as a gamer community, we can just go to Twitter or we can go to the forums, right? Like there's plenty of platforms we can already do that on. But do you think that, or from your experience, have you seen that in other DBD commentary communities that that's just kind of like the same thing? It's just kind of another place for people to argue and yell back and forth and they're not productive? Because I think that's what I want. I want to somehow exist in a way that I am giving and lifting up the community and not taking away. That's one of the reasons I absolutely despise Salt content, because I feel like it's, you know, success at other people's expense, success at punching down. I don't want to do that. So if I'm just like accidentally like creating a forum at which people can just tear each other down and tear each other apart, those are not what I want to do. Not that I would ever stop the commentary thing, I don't think, because for an entertainment's sake, from an entertainment point of view, like that's still fun and still worthwhile. It's just I would have to find something else as a ventilation for me wanting to make the community a better place. So yeah, LDR, what I said just there. However your experience has been with other DBD commentary communities, do you think they're healthy for the community? Do they think they raise things up, or do they stir the pot and create more discourse than they have any right to do? Let me know down in the comments below. Other than that, that's gonna be it for this very, very long rant video. Chewed your ear off this time, but yeah, I'm gonna label it rant up there, so you click, that's your fault. Egg on your face. I do upload daily though, so I will see you tomorrow. But if I do not, friends, I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.